for joining Birth It Forward Book Club today, where we are going to be continuing reading Belly, Body, Soul. Today, we're going to be talking about a variety of topics, including birth stories and breastfeeding. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And let's get ready to hear from some doulas who know squat.
Let's see. Week 3 would have been chapter 7. So do you find that your time would allow you to do something like a timeline for a client, or do you have similar practices to honor the experience for your client?
Do a timeline, like, do we take notes during births to make a timeline?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, as a birth it forward doula, you're supposed to make quick notes in our private chat with the whole birth team, which makes a timeline for you, which is really nice. And then that can be incredibly helpful, or if you're there
What?
time when you get tired.
What makes a private chat? What makes a timeline?
When you go into your private chat with the other birth it forward team members on, like, we use Google.
On the Google chat?
Yeah.
It puts a timeline together?
Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
it timestamps every time you message.
Oh, well, that. I was thinking it wrote it up for us.
Like an official thing. I mean, you could just copy and paste it and put it in, Chat GPT, and it'll make me a timeline
You
of this.
can.
Boop, boop, boop,
You
boop,
can
boop.
Now
write
you
this
just
in a
gotta go in and
PDF.
take out any place that you were expressing frustration, as I do. I'll get in there and say stuff.
Yes, I do that too. I yell at it sometimes. But no, I'm constantly writing notes. Like at the birth this morning, I'm writing in who the nurses are, when they had their shift change. Hey, so and so left. This person came on. They just gave this recap. I don't usually put in like blood pressure or anything along those nature because we're non-medical. I take note of it in my head if someone's
Well, this would
asking
be
me.
for them, like to honor their experience.
I used to put something together for them.
I do the ask. I had people that
Yeah.
there was a whole thing, because I used to do it for everybody, and then there was a whole controversy where they said that doing that is almost like co-opting your client's story by putting together a timeline
Oh.
for them.
Okay.
Or like writing out a story, like that it's putting your own observations in perspective, even though you're really just, I mean, I thought that it would be fine to just writing down what happened and when.
Yeah.
But it was a whole thing for a while. And sometimes my clients would give me permission to make a blog post about it, and I'd put it on there. And someone
Okay.
called me out and was like, you shouldn't even be asking their permission to do this, because you should not be doing this at all. And at the time, I was very like, oh, anything controversial, then I just don't like. Now I would be like, they gave me permission, busybody of a person.
Yeah.
But at the time, I said, oh my gosh. And they're like, you shouldn't even be asking to do this. This is not something that you should be doing for people. You are co-oping their story by doing this. So I stopped, and now I do it if somebody asks me to, but
I can kind of see that perspective of if you hadn't asked and you wrote it up and then you're like, hey, guess what? I put this together. Most doulas, though, if they are putting a timeline together, they're telling, you would say something in the prenatal, yeah, and I put a timeline together. Is that something you wanted? Because I usually do that for every birth. We don't have to do it if you don't want it. Anything like that, I'm always prefacing in the prenatal of this is something I do. I'm a photographer. I put together birth stories in a visual format. Is that something you want? And then usually going into the birth, I reiterate it.
yeah.
Hey, remember we
Yeah.
talked about this. This is something I do. Are you still okay with me pulling a camera out?
Yeah. And then that
I don't do
includes
anything.
during the hard times.
Yeah,
It feels really
good
weird
and
to be
hard.
photographing something that's hard, but some people really want that.
Yeah.
Because I want the authentic experience, and I want to be really proud of myself later.
Yeah.
When I'm gonna go,
And
yeah, that was
those,
hard and I did it, So it just,
and honestly, if someone's looking at birth photos online, those are the ones they're looking at. Those hard photos that evoke emotion. That's what you're looking for in a photography situation. You want those intense moments to be photographed.
Yeah, I haven't thought of a way to do any kind of like honoring experience for my clients. I mean, I leave them a gift bag.
You know,
That's all.
each doula
I'm
has their
just
own
like,
process.
here's a little bag, or I'll leave a baby book for them
Oh,
to like
that's sweet though,
do their own
Janice.
memories. But I have not like sat down and because I think because too I'm too like I analyze too in depth. So I mean we'd have probably a little mini book by the time I would finish doing their timeline. They'll be like, "Oh, this is not chapter two." Oh, we're just arriving to the hospital in chapter two.
See, personally, I'm not a writer. I have,
Oh,
I couldn't even write out my own birth stories. Kristen
see,
helped
I'm
me
a
write my
writer.
last one.
I will write and write and
Yep.
write and write and write, and they'll just be like, oh my God, this is very detailed." So I'm just like, if I just hand a gift, I don't have to say anything. It's short and sweet, and it
There
just
you
gets the
go.
point, to them like, here's a little self-care bag, and
Yeah,
AKA
takes a lot
self-care
less
when
of
you
their
get home,
time. Hmm.
and I'm done.
Yeah,
I
something I've
love
seen
that
people
though.
do is make like a wall certificate almost that can go on the wall that honors the baby's name, like the parent's name and where the baby was born. And it's just a cute little PDF thing that they fill in real quick. And you can leave space for like handprints or footprints or
Mhm.
something. And then when you come do the perinatal, you just bring a little ink and then
Aw.
make me, and then they
Yeah,
can
and then you can do the little stamp.
play that if they want or put it in their baby book or something. I like that because it doesn't take a ton of time. It's very honoring. Um,
It's still special.
it's cute. That's something that they'll actually
Mhm.
save because it's got the baby's hand and feet prints on it, which is pretty cool. So that's something that I
Yep,
like.
I've got
As
one.
far as I'm aware, there hasn't been any controversy about that, except for the ink. Because people are like, you're putting this toxic ink on babies, and if you put it on their hands and they put it
Oh
and
my gosh.
you know, wipe off their hands and feet. But then
Wipe it
there's
off,
also this like clear ink stuff that you can use, but that is actually more toxic than the ink
which
that
is
you
what the
use.
hospital uses, by the way.
I was
And
gonna
it's tough
say, I'm
because you
pretty
can't
sure it's
see
what the
it to get it
hospital
off.
uses.
Yeah. So I prefer the I mean they make cleaner options and I prefer just getting something clean that's visible so you can see if you actually got it all off of their hands and feet. But
Yeah. I've got one from my midwife from Gerard's birth,
oh,
where she had put a little footprint. It's a little card, and it says everyone who was at the birth, when the birth took place. It's got all the stats on it and everything. And I love it. It's still hanging up on my little mirror. So that's a great one. She happened, as the midwife, she happened to have the footprint already because she did the footprint when they did the birth certificate footprint and everything. So I mean, you don't even have to do a footprint if you don't want to. Just a card with all the stats is always cute. You could take a little photo and print that out if you wanted to.
Aw.
taking a photo and printing it out is more work though than just keeping the same container of ink in your postpartum visit bag. I'm all about just making it easy. Make it easy on yourselves, people. It doesn't have
Drop the
to be
bag.
Absolutely.
hard.
Drop the
I
bag and
love
go.
it easy. Yeah. Ultimately, you do
On the
what
windowsill, right
is,
over here.
yeah. But and ultimately, I mean, you do what speaks to you as the doula and what you're able
This is
to
true.
to do.
What you have time for.
So I
Yep.
think we covered the recipe and the nutrition part. So moving
We
to
did. We
chapter
skipped
9,
when I
got about
was
15 minutes. Um, what did you find thorough about the chapter on breastfeeding in chapter 9?
I thought it was great. I was talking to you about this earlier. I really liked where it was talking about getting out clogged ducts and it actually did it right. That's not
I
something
was
you
just
can
looking at
forget.
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Yep.
I like how clear and concise these little sections are. She's really getting potentially a lot of information out in such small increments
I
that you're like, okay,
know.
I'm not overwhelmed by this at all. It's
Mhm.
It's so like the wording is so straightforward. It's just like I get it and it's enough. Like it's not where I feel like I'm left hanging.
yeah. And I feel like someone just coming into it could easily just pick, okay, this chapter is about nutrition. Let me go read, let me look through. I love how she's got little headings inside the chapters. So you can be like, okay, I need, such as the breastfeeding, I need help with the pump.
Mhm.
Here's a really quick little thing about pump. Oh, is my baby getting enough milk? I can't tell. Oh, well, here you go. It's right here. Is my baby getting enough milk?
Yeah.
Do
And I
we
also
have a
like
rhythm?
she starts each new topic with a little bit of time to focus on the history and the stats.
I like
Of,
that too.
obviously the best way to learn how to breastfeed is by being around people who breastfeed. And so if you're having a harder time with this, let's not judge you. Let's judge the situation that you're in. When she
I like
talks
that.
about page 140, I love this just paragraph that she's got here, where it says, unfortunately, the combination of slavery, racism, intergenerational trauma, and white privilege was previously discussed in section 1 of this book, has made breastfeeding a luxury in the United States, thus denying Black mothers this powerful introduction into motherhood. I mean, if you're not around people who breastfeed to just kind of pick it up in its normalcy, we are a very mimicking species, then that is going to make it harder for you. And that shouldn't discourage you from doing it. But it does
Yeah,
explain, like the stats that she gives over on 141, by 6 months, only 35% of Black women still breastfeed. Only
that
35%.
definitely explains that stat.
Yeah, so what's
Yep.
the
Yeah.
likelihood that you're going to then, and then that affects the next generation, affects the next generation, you know? I mean,
Yes.
I've had experiences where the first time that somebody sees breastfeeding as a woman of color is when they're trying to do it themselves. They've never even, and so then how is that supposed to come naturally to you? Something that's already very
Hmm.
difficult.
Hmm.
It's just gonna make it even harder. And I like that she starts with that and then she gives very straightforward advice on, and here's how you can overcome it, but kind of just like a good background explanation first. I love that.
Actually, that's a really great point. I love how she does that too. Sorry, I'm probably gonna have to stay muted because she's okay.
And it was really cool on page 143, the box that says breastfeeding is not just a preference, it's a form of activism. I love that.
Yes.
It's beautiful and very
Yes.
true. There's so many nurse-ins that you can attend. It is so a form of activism. Breastfeed in public, make it normal.
Oh gosh, I remember those trying times. Uh, the looks, the stares. There's like, I'm just breastfeeding my child. Like, why is this a whole thing? Like, you could totally just drink your coffee and look the other way. I mean, I don't understand.
Nothing to do with you, actually.
And I even
Absolutely
had a
nothing.
cover. Like, that was even like, I even had a cover. So I'm like, I can't be any more discreet. Like, other than us being orbed up to space and coming back down. Would you rather
Yeah.
us just orb out of here and then orb back? Because we're gonna have to come back. We gotta finish shopping. So
But Janice, your boob was out in public. How dare you?
Under a
Oh
cloth
my
is
goodness.
exactly the same as wearing a shirt, but still,
yeah,
I'm just saying. I did not.
there
I
was
did not have
just
that.
like,
I didn't use a cover. I tried twice to use a cover, but I needed to use a oh gosh darn it. English has not been my first language today. I do not even know. A shield. I had to use a shield to nurse my first.
okay,
And I had a really hard time getting it to stay on, and she was a pop offer, and she'd take it with her.
uh,
And so you have to keep putting the thing back on, trying to do that undercover,
uh,
trying to teach yourself how to breastfeed for the first time, especially with an infant who did not have a good suck on her own already. I threw the thing in a parking lot. Literally, I took it and I threw it. And my husband was like,
Yeah,
and I was like, "Trip."
yeah, I could see that. That yeah. See,
that would
we
be.
were. I mean, they latched and we were good under the cover. It was not an issue, but it was like it wouldn't even matter with or without it because people still like still stare. Like just
That'd be
was
Mhm.
like,
crazy.
oh my goodness, this is really a phenomena to them.
Yeah.
Public breastfeeding is hard any way you think about it, but it's even harder when people just sit and stare and treat you like this is wrong to feed your baby.
Mhm. Yeah. It just to be. I mean, it really doesn't have to be hard. I remember one time I went to Target, and I guess that there had been a lot of recent activism trying to normalize public breastfeeding. And the number of people that as I was walking by, they were just like, "Good job, mama, you're rocking it." And it was so up, like for me, and my journey was so hard with my first. And it really encouraged me. I was really down. And that's one of my favorite early motherhood memories, is people just coming up to me and telling me, "Good job. You're killing it. You're rocking it. You're feeding your baby." And I actually would like have a hard time, like, I'm gonna go walk around Target and nurse and just be told how great I'm doing because I'm having a hard time today. And it was it was totally a thing at that particular Target. I never had that experience anywhere else except
You know
there.
what I just love that? I was walking around Walmart once. I had Gwendolyn's wrap to me. And I was nursing her at the time, actually, with her in the wrap, keeping an eye on her, of course. You know, she was still where I could reach her and see her and all the things.
Really.
Well, what?
So doing it properly.
Yeah, doing it properly.
And nurse at the same time safely, and should. It's
Absolutely. Sorry. So this, I honestly can't remember if it was a man or a woman, but someone came up and they're like, "Oh, she's so beautiful. Can I, yeah, da, da, da." She's just talking to me. She had no idea I was feeding her. She, I
That's
did
the
all.
positives of a wrap. They can't see you
Yeah,
anyway, so
she
they
had
don't even
no
know.
idea. Yep. I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, thank you. I know she's so sweet." And I'm just watching her.
Something else that I really love about this chapter on page 147, where she just starts talking about how breastfeeding takes practice. You know, people will get really discouraged if they don't latch within that first 10
Yep.
minutes, within the first hour. And then they say, "I can't do this." And there's
Yep.
so much pressure. It's very true that you should try to initiate sooner. You know, that is true. Doing that skin to skin, having baby at least like play around, try to latch, good, awesome, we love that. But if you don't latch immediately, that doesn't mean you're not going to have a good strong speeding journey. It takes
Yes.
practice. Even if this is your
Yes.
third or fourth baby, if it's your boutique baby and you're having a difficult time after this baby is born latching, that doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to learn. Every baby has to then learn how to breastfeed. And some of them come out and they pop right on, and that is amazing. What's
I
much
know
common is they pop
it
out and
is.
they hang out and they lick and they
Yep.
think about latching and they put the
Yep.
nipple in their mouth and they cry around it because they don't understand what they're supposed to be doing. And they're
Mm-hmm.
not even really
Mm-hmm.
hungry yet, right? They just got
Yep.
born. But that's totally fine and actually important. And I love that she talks about that, because that
Yes.
needs to be normalized. People need to expect that to be what happens.
Because, and you know, and then it also comes from just people in general telling them like, "Oh, my baby came right out." And so then so then that adds to the extra layer of like, why isn't the baby latching? Is something wrong with me? What is wrong? And it's like, no, that's their story. This is still norm. This is like in the norm. And they still feel like, "Oh my gosh, I've been trying 3 times. They're just not." And I'm like, we haven't even passed like 15 minutes. Like
Right.
this baby
Yeah.
is fresh here.
Still
And then I
totally
have to
within the
remind them
variation of
like,
normal.
yes, yes. And
Mhm.
so I kind of hate sometimes when they get those stories, because they feel like their story should be the same. And I'm
Mhm.
just like, it won't be, but it doesn't make it a bad story. It just makes it
Right.
your story.
Right.
Like now I have one, she's on the cusp because she had a cousin who had a traumatic birth experience. So now she's reached 40 and she is terrified. She is having anxiety attacks and she's going to the emergency room because of her cousin's story. And I'm just like, this is not your story, though. We don't
Yeah.
know her history medically. You are low risk. You have been low risk this whole pregnancy.
Mhm.
Her story is not your story. And even if you did end up having something going on, it still makes it your story. So, like, you know, you have to just recreate these events. Every birth, I'm like, there's no one birth on this planet that is going to be identical. Not a one. No one's going to be like, "Yep, I went at 8:42 too. They gave me that epidural at 8:47 too. The baby turned sideways at 8:55." No, no one. And now, no one I've known. I'm
No,
just
your
like,
own birth story
no.
is going to be different. My first labor was 33 hours long. My second labor was 2.5.
And
Yep. I
yeah,
follow that.
You never know.
you
Brittany has
never know.
unique birth stories, you know? Like, no, some they'll be like, yeah, I tend to. And then
I have
they'll
4
say that
very
out
unique
loud, and then
stories,
their
yes.
next baby will be like, and do something weird because you're not allowed to have that.
All 4 of my birth stories are very different. All 4 of my breastfeeding journeys were very different. All 4 of my parenting, the way I parent each child is similar
Yes.
because I'm
My
one
older
person.
children don't understand that part.
Right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did not see, sorry, did she talk about ties or oral restrictions in here? Because I don't think I saw it, but I wanted to check with you all.
Uh, I don't recall.
think so.
Might not be in there. Because I know that under
Um,
difficult, and that might, she just might feel like that's outside of her
And I was
scope
thinking
to talk
because that
about.
was more medical, that
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe that's why she didn't bring that up.
Yeah. I was
yeah, I
just
don't
wondering
remember seeing
because
anything about
that is
ties.
something that is becoming more and more, I don't want to use the word trendy, but it's just more noticed, you know? Like it used to be
Yeah.
the thing to give every baby vitamin D supplementing with the breast milk, and every
Yep.
single baby needed vitamin D drops. Like that
Yeah.
was the trend. Right now, the
Yep.
trend is every single baby needs a tie revision. And
We
like,
we
Well, I
never
saw,
stuck to that D thing either. They were like
yeah.
every day. I was like, it worked for the maybe a couple months and then we fell off.
yeah,
So
I think,
with my first, they were saying you need to give her these vitamins every day in your milk, and I'm like, I'm not bottle feeding for starters. So how am I going to give them to her? Well, you're just going to give her a bottle. I'm like, well, throw that away because that's not
no.
happening.